All right. Now this session, as always, ladies and gentlemen, will have amazing visionaries, leaders whose passion, creativity, and impacts make us all incredibly proud today. So yes, South Indian Media Summit 2025 launches with unstoppable energy. So may I invite on stage Mr. Anand, co-founder, Sweet Karam Coffee, Mr. Manikandan, founder and CMD Aditya Developers, Mr. Vijay Sunku, director, Parimal Mandir, Ms. Geeta Ramakrishnan, co-founder, Seven Doors to Heaven, and this session will be moderated by Mohit Joshi, CEO, Havas Media Network India. Ladies and gentlemen, with a nice, thunderous round of applause as we kickstart the very first session.
Thank you very much, and welcome to the South India Summit, something that Shankar, Bharat and team have been doing fabulously for the last so many years. So a big round of applause to them once again, please. Sitting here, we don't realize the amount of effort that goes behind creating it. And yesterday, a few of us were saying that it's become like an annual, the way you go to a temple once in a year, you have to go to Shankar's South India Summit. So it's like a tirth, as we call it. And we do it because of the love and relationship that we have with him. When he calls you, you cannot say no. So having said that, I'm really humbled to be here sitting with such leaders in the industry, and the discussion that we are going to be doing is around decision making, something that you are doing practically every day, many, many times. And I want to understand from each one of you on the various nuances of decision making. Some say that you can't make decisions based on fear, the possibility of what might happen. Some say the art of decision making includes the art of questioning. And everybody has a different way of decision making. And the way the environment has been changing, the fast changing business environment, I think decision making is also becoming so much more complex, because initially if a decision could be taken for a longer period of time, today you have to decide on a daily basis. So I want to first understand what is decision making as per you guys. So Mr. Anand, as a founder of a fast scaling consumer brand, how do you define informed decision making in your day-to-day business?
Thanks, Mohit. First of all, I take a minute to thank Shankar and for this opportunity. It's an honor to be on the stage amidst all the stalwarts. So thank you so much, Shankar. Thanks, Mohit, for the opportunity. So as a startup, for us, time is gold. I think decision making to us is the balance of speed and thought. It's a fine balance between using logical reasoning and data, and with a leap of faith. So it's a clear balance between both. While the logic gives me the confidence, the belief gives the courage to take a decision. So it's very, very important for us. And I strongly believe that any decision that is not taken within the time has no value to it. And for us being in food industry, the trend keeps changing, not even previously it was quarter, it was months. Now it keeps changing every day, depends on weather, mood, and a lot of trends keeping changing day by day. So you need to be on the toes. By the time you take the decision, the trend would have already become outdated. So it's a fine balance between speed and thought.
Well said, sir. Well said. Sir, Vijay sir, and you have a legacy business, legacy category like agarbattis. Do you feel decision making is more about experience and intuition than data? While, the gentleman here talked about data and said that, everything has to be data driven. You, in your experience, how do you manage the balance between data and intuition?
See, for a new age companies like Sweet Karam Coffee, it would be much more easier to decide because of a new age being in place, and largely it is data-driven decisions which will be easier for them to make. But for a legacy companies like us, which is a 75-year-old company, we have a balance of old age theory and the new age Gen Z management. And what makes a big challenge for us is all these decades of our existence, the decision-making process was purely based on experience. Due to the unavailability of data in those times. But now the challenges are much more complex. The data is in place, and you have, on the other hand, the experience which we largely believed all along. So this is a very challenging thing to match our decisions with the new age people who are managing today at the desk level. So being data driven, in place, decisions making process will be more complex, more focused and a rightful decision. Whereas the experiential decisions would have been much more based on faith, based on experience, which could not necessarily always be successful. But data driven decisions are always very focused. At least if you are not successful, you are there at least 60-70% of what you decide or take decisions. So that way, for a company, legacy companies like us, it is, we are also into the change of, in the times of transition. So probably certain times it helps in both ways. Certain times it may not be good. But overall, way forward, it would be always data-driven than the experience.
Thank you, Vijay sir. That's very well said. And the way you balance the two of them is absolutely important, and that comes with your experience. Mani sir, I'll come to you. And, in real estate, which is a very different category than all the others, where projects can run into years and years, and there's a huge financial and emotional involvement, huge financial stakes that are there. Do you believe sometime delaying a decision or waiting out can actually be smarter? While, Anand sir over here said that a decision that is not made on time is not a decision at all. So, while that's one category, but I wanted to know about your category. Do you think something like that works? Would it be a smarter move to not take a decision at some point in time or delay it? And if yes, do you have some examples that you could share with us?
Sometimes the decision we wait for the decision to make from the others really helps us in some time. But as a first generation entrepreneur, how fast we make decisions is how fast we grow. So I basically believe the number of decisions we make is the faster we grow. So I believe on taking decisions very fast.
Okay. Even in this category, you saying that decision has to be made fast.
Has to be taken very fast.
Perfect. So we are all on the same page on that. Decisions have to be made fast. They have to be data driven, though we should be, driven by insight as well. Now I want to come into a very important point, ma'am. Conflict and mediation in leadership, because, you are a leadership coach. And from your perspective, what is the biggest mistake that leaders make while trying to resolve conflicts? Because when a decision has to be made, there will be conflicts, because it's not one person who's taking a decision. There will be a board, there'll be a set of members, and conflict is a natural outcome of that. So I want to know from you, how do you resolve conflicts? What are the biggest mistakes that leaders make while trying to resolve?
See, as leaders, it's natural because you're leading. But the moment you take a pause and you step back and try and understand the other person's perspective, you don't have to agree with it, that will help in the conflict management a lot. And more than that, I would also say the tone of your voice. When you are entering a conflict or during that, you just be more calm, and I think it will have a better resolution.
Absolutely. Anand, in your industry, you're an entrepreneur. Of course, decision making, you said fast decision making is inevitable, and completely agree with you. How do you resolve conflicts? I'm sure there would be many. And what are your mantras of resolving conflicts whenever they happen?
I think conflicts are a part of a decision making. When you say, I would say conflicts as different point of views rather than seeing it as a conflict. I think it encourages better decision making, because multiple point of views for the same challenge gives you a very different perspective. I would in fact flip the whole table and say that you need to have conflicts while taking the decision. So far it is constructive, and conflicts helps you to take better decisions.
That's fabulous, and I agree with it, because, the more I mean, obviously one aspect is too many cooks spoil the broth, but at the same time, if there are right people in the room taking decisions and you are able to moderate it well, as she said, use the tone, manner, and get the best out of it, the decision can be the best. Mani sir, you know, in your sector, which is, you're constantly managing multiple stakeholders, buyers, contractors, architects, and sometimes even family dynamics. How do you mediate when the voices clash? And what does conflict resolution in the housing industry look like?
Sir, in any organization, the conflict is part of your business. Every day you have conflicts, but everything can be solved. When an organization, everybody in the HODs have a one vision of making the organization big, and everybody is aligned to the organization, the conflict can be solved when everybody is aligned to a one matter. So where the KPI and KRIs and the goal setting plays a vital role. So when we sit and talk, everything can be solved at a single note, sir. We should not delay when the conflict is going to be in the higher version.
Ma'am, I'll come back to you. And, you know, this is slightly progressing on that. With leadership, conflict management, and pressures comes burnout, right? So, and you know, that's something that you've spoken about a lot, I think, in your work. So, why is it happening so often today? While we all know, but I want to understand it from a leadership coach's perspective. And what are we all chasing? And what is your perspective when you talk to leaders around this space?
It's a great question because, see, as leaders, you're chasing mostly professional success, and what you focus on is what you will get. But then it comes with a cost because by chasing something, you're putting yourself in constant stress 24 hours. And when you're in stress, you go into what I call a fight or flight mode. And that costs a lot of energy that is drained from your body, from your mind. But having said that, what can you do about it, right? So the easiest thing to do is at least focus 1 hour on yourself. Very often we forget to do that, take care of our own self. Something that gives you happiness, it could be reading, cooking, it's very creative. So it balances that stress and gets a sort of calm. And it's almost like a vagal nervous reset when you're doing things that are very creative and very relaxing, even breathing slowly. All small things. They are not very great things, like you're focusing your attention on physical health and eating healthy. You can also do all these small things to get that balance.
I need to meet you after this session for sure. You know, now I'll come to you, sir, Veer sir. You know, I'm sure you have also in your long journey seen burnouts happening to yourself and people around you. How have you dealt with it?
In this corporate world, every day is a very stressful day. Why? Because end of the day, only thing the corporate world understands is the numbers.
Absolutely.
So in the process, how well you define orderliness and doing things which really doesn't burn out is what matters. But again, without stress, nothing can come or fall in your plate so easily. So that burnout is very essential. But again, I think the corporate world is much mature enough to take this pressures within, and they know each one what to do for themselves to keep that calmness in control, not to allow the pressures going down the line. And end of the day, each one are managing on their own and in different ways that they think that it fits them well.
Very well said, sir. Very well said. You know, Anand, I want to ask you, as a young founder yourself, and I'm sure your team will also be young, right? And I might get shot for saying this, but the young, you know, the Gen Zs get burnt out far faster than us. You know, we've still not burnt out or managed to sustain somehow, but the Gen Zs get burnt out very fast. So I'm sure there must be so many examples of people under you say, I've burnt out, where's my work-life balance? At least I see that a lot in my team. So, how do you manage this pressure of constant decision-making without a burnout, and also managing it with your team, which I'm assuming is going to be a much younger team than the other industries, with them as well?
Yes, absolutely. Our team is, I think the average age of our team is around 30.
Yeah.
But the only thing is like, I think the culture comes into place here.
Okay.
For us, the entire team is like a family. And there is a lot of freedom to fail. And we empower every single person in the team to become the founder. Because at the end of the day, it's very important to create next level leaders here. So, and we are quite spiritually inclined. And for us, the brand is like an altar and work is like worship. So when your work becomes a prayer and work is not a work anymore, it becomes an expression. So there is no term called a burnout. In fact, you enjoy taking decisions and it's a part of your worship. So I think it's more like a family. Our entire team is a family. And I think we empower them to take decisions with the freedom to fail. And we focus on just the process because most of the results are not in our control, but the processes. So we focus on the process, and we truly believe that work should be an expression and work should not be work.
Very well said. And, I'll come to your point on work as worship, as well as the fact that everybody is empowered to be a founder himself. Mani sir, I want to ask you, in traditional industries like real estate, where, again, legacy, family expectations, community reputation play a very big role. Does burnout manifest differently, or is it the same?
So burnout as a founder, we are creating something new. So we will not feel that burnout because as a first generation entrepreneur, fire on our belly, we doesn't feel. But the second level, the management team should not feel burnout. We have to set the second level in command very strong, where they take care of the organization in a very good manner, and every layer is filled with that confidence. Then the burnout rate in the team is very low, where they take care, they solve the problem. They will not come to the management for solving problems. And the HR played a vital role in it by keeping employee engagement as a very vital role. So in our organization, as he said, our average age is around 33 in our organization. So people love their job. They do what they want. When they have a correct, clear route, what they want to do it on a daily basis, then the burnout rate is very less. So in our organization, it's very, very less.
Great. I'm happy to hear this. I want to work in places like this myself. And, you spoke about culture, and I think I want to pivot my next question to that. Culture plays a very important role in building the ecosystem in which employees and employer, work. And this is where, burnout, we understood, is something that's possible, that's going to happen. Some bit of it is important, some bit of pressure is important, that also came across. And this is where the importance of mental health and mental health awareness comes into play, right? Something that has been really not spoken about in India, in the West it is. I think mental health has become a very important thing. In fact, it's gone to the other end. But in India, it's still a very hush-hush topic. But I've seen over the last, especially after COVID, people have realized the importance of mental health for themselves as well as for their employees. And there is a lot that has happened. So I'll come to you, ma'am, and I'll ask you about, while initially Women's Day, Valentine's Day, all those things used to, be a big buzz. Even today it is. Do you think that we are giving adequate importance to Mental Awareness Day the way it should be given? And why do you think Mental Awareness Day is still being underplayed? Because I personally feel it's being underplayed in the leadership, even otherwise. Your point of view on that?
It's easy to celebrate Women's Day, for example. Yesterday was actually Daughter's Day. So all you have to do is, get roses, go out for dinner, and it's great. Whereas when you take mental awareness, it requires you to introspect and find out what your weaknesses are. And people in general, especially leaders, are a little averse to doing that. But having said that, I'm so happy to be in this medium where media is covering all this. We are spreading that mental health is equally important as physical health, and it's the awareness that helps at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And I want to ask all of you, starting from you, Anand, do you integrate mental health well-being into your into your company's culture? Because you spoke about the culture, and I'm assuming that it will be important, or is it still a very soft topic?
I think it's your mental awareness. I think it shouldn't be decoupled with your org fundamentals or culture, because it's a part. And we don't speak mental awareness much because we're all personally connected. The entire team is personally connected. Because if you start giving importance to the personal life, even in office, if you stay connected, if you don't understand each other personally, then I don't think there will be a conflict, and there won't be a burnout, and there won't be a discussion about mental awareness. Because if you have each other's back, not just in personal life, but also in personal life, sorry, not just in professional life, but also in personal life, because that's where your culture comes into place. For us, we call SKC as one family, and we are truly one family till now, and whatever it is, being professional disputes, whatever it is, we reach out to each other, and I think we have each other's back covered. So I think the mental well-being is a part of the culture, and that's a fine thread that connects all of us and that binds all of us together.
Vijay sir, I want your point of view again, a legacy business, and maybe 15, 20 years back, mental health awareness was not something that was important. But now it is becoming important, especially when, a younger generation is also coming into the industry. So what are your thoughts, and how do you implement it in your specific industry and your business?
Mental health, largely I would pursue it as it is a new age terminology. At least in India, as you said, in West it could have been, but at least in India, generations have passed, and with this work culture methodology. But the new age terminology of what we call mental health remains only on words than in practice, because generations have passed working in the culture that each institution or organizations have established, and when there is a proper defining responsibilities and roles for the individuals to work in the organizations, then I don't see there is any issue of mental health. Just because it is a new age terminology, everywhere people talk about it. So you have, a new kind of seminars, conclaves talking about such issues. But practically, it is like a non-existent, at least in Indian culture, at least in South India.
Okay. So, now I want to start a conflict in this group. Ma'am, I want your perspective on that.
Well, I don't disagree, because what I hear from Anand, right, is that culture that you're creating, and which was existing in the last generation and the generation before, which is changing now. It's not about stopping what is to change, but as things change, we need that support system which was there, and now it's in the form of mental awareness specifically.
So what you're saying, that since the society is changing, the value systems are changing, and the work culture is also changing slowly. In fact, not slowly, actually much faster. You feel that there is a need for mental health awareness. And
Yes.
Vijay sir says that, it's something that has been, because, why he's saying that, I know, because mental health has also been taken to the other extreme, right? And we all know what we are talking about. So there has to be a balance of mental health. And my personal perspective is mental health is very important, but it has to be balanced. It should not, be leveraged for everything. A work is given to you and you say, I can't do it because it's conflicting with my mental health. That could be an issue, and it is happening, honestly. So I think somewhere it's important. I want to understand your perspective, Mani sir. What is your perspective on this? How do you see this evolving in your industry, the mental health awareness, and Do you have certain perspectives or some ways of assessing that for your people?
So it's not how strong you are physically, it's how strong you mentally decides how strong person you are. So in our organization also we face today many problems. Many youngsters are there. Once a small problem could not solve, they get stressed and they are very much agitated. So for this in our organization, we are maintaining a strong policy of making to learning and development. To HR, we are giving a strong training for making people to solve, how to solve their problem, how to handle their problem, how to bring their problem to the management. Many people doesn't bring the problem to the management. Keeping the problem with them itself is causing a mental stress for them. So once the problem is solved, they're mentally very strong. Once the problem cannot be solved, they're mentally very weak. So in any organization, once we tell the from lower employee to any higher employee to bring the problem or solve the problem, we train themselves, the mental stress goes very low. So that is a perspective from my side.
Okay, and this is a very important topic.
And the culture also plays a vital role.
Absolutely. So I just want to ask one more question to all of you, and this is because we at Havas, we feel mental health is becoming very, very important, and we also have counselors who our employees can talk to whenever they want. And I see that happening a lot in younger organizations because the possibilities of burnout and stress are significantly high, and maybe the way it's expressed is also very different. In the earlier generations, people were stressed, but they were not even talking about it. Nobody knew that they were under stress and they were under mental pressure. But today, the generation talks about it, and hence it's important to address it for the right reasons. So I want to understand from each one of you, would you be happy if your employees ask you to have a counsel, mental health counsel for them on a phone call or something like that?
Not really sure on this because for us, how it operates currently is we have a cultural committee here. So we have people who are assigned to be the ambassadors of the culture. So it is an in-house, I would say it's an in-house team that we have. And we have chosen a few individuals who will be the ambassador of this culture and who will make sure that the team is empowered, motivated, every small win is celebrated so that people don't burn out. And we believe that if you understand everyone personally, understand what's going through in their personal life, and I think most of the mental awareness or the mental burnouts are solved. But however, it's always good to keep listening to your team, keep listening about what's happening, what's going through in the background to solve for this.
Sure. Vijay sir, quickly your comments on that. Would you be okay to have a counselor on call for your employees?
I don't think we need to get into that extreme of appointing counselors to handle such issues. Because I believe totally it is an individual perspective. And more so, the days when decades back, going to office was to attend your responsibilities there. And today, going to work and to attend to your responsibilities is termed as mental health issues. So, it is nothing to do with any of mental health, but rather you take that your work and the culture and the atmosphere that you are working in is in right frame. And I don't think this could be a bigger issue. Largely, I believe this is a media creation than at the practical ground level.
Thank you, sir. Mani sir, your point of view? Would you be okay to have a counselor on call for your employees?
No, sir. Bringing in that level and solving the problem is not a good culture in the company. It's preventing without happening is a good culture. So giving them their clear visions, clear goal, clear role clarity, and what they do, what they should not do, gives us the best culture of working. That itself will solve all the problem and which will not lead them to go to the counselor level. That is not a good organization. Creating all problem and taking them to the counselor is a worst company or culture. It can be fit, so it's wrong. So giving them the clarity, giving them the vision, giving them the correct goal, what you are expecting out of them, each and everybody. So once they have everything on the air, I think they can deliver good where they are not taken to that stage.
Ma'am, I know, thank you. Ma'am, I know your answer, but still I would want you, would you want to differ or would you want to align?
I just want to say that if you take or have a look at top leaders, they in fact have more than one coach. So it is a show of strength rather than weakness.
Thank you. I respect all your point of views because, you know, there's nothing right or wrong and it's a very, very soft topic.
A big round of applause for the wonderful moderator and panelists.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We have a book because she's a prolific author herself. So from a wholesome session to how to live in a wholesome way, we have books coming your way. So here it is.
Perfect.
The Game of Change, ladies and gentlemen, by Geeta Ramakrishnan. I love how you spoke about the vagus nerve. There's a very simple thing that we do in India. It's called pranayama to take care of your vagus nerve, by the way. It's beautifully said, Geeta ma'am. And to honor this wonderful panel and moderator, may I please invite on stage Mr. Narasimhan and Mr. Unnikrishnan from Asianet News. Please join us on stage. A big round of applause, such prominent speakers, and more importantly, what an amazing session. Thank you for joining us. We'll felicitate Mr. Anand first, the co-founder of Sweet Karam Coffee. Thank you so much, and Mr. Vijay to do the honors. Thank you so much, Mr. Vijay Sunku. And to honor Ms. Geeta Ramakrishnan up next. Thank you so much, Mr. Narasimhan and Mr. Unnikrishnan for joining us. And to the wonderful group here, can you just step forward for a nice big group photo with the books? It'll be wonderful. LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Instagram, if you're loving what you're seeing and hearing. What a fab session. It's wonderful to see counselors being part of your organizations, to taking care of your mental health. Very, very well said. Thank you so very much once again.